Hi there, awesome humans. I am going to take a few minutes to tell you a little story about how I got here. I often get asked that question and thought maybe it's time just to do a post about it. So, the beginning is me working at the hospital for 19 years. I worked 10 years on the maternity ward, 9 years on the surgical ward. I was a licensed practical nurse there. And for the most part, I really loved it. Loved my clients, my patients. Really enjoyed that interaction and the feeling like I was helping. So, getting near the end of my career, all of a sudden I started to have a few questions and things started to kind of unfold. Started doing a little bit more research and started thinking, there's lots of things that play into this. Like, how are people feeling? What kind of food are they eating? Are they exercising? Are they happy? All of these sorts of things. As I started asking these questions, suddenly I was feeling not quite as happy and comfortable where I was at working at the hospital. So I quit the hospital, went and waitressed for a little while, which I'd never done in my life, which was like super fun. I knew it wasn't my forever job, but I really did enjoy it. I was at a truck stop in Nisku. And then I moved into the role, it was a sales role, and that was great for quite some time. And then we had partnered with another company, and that wasn't really the best fit for me. So at that point, I suddenly was kind of in my early 40s-ish, mid-ish, and wondering, what am I going to do with my life now? And what I realized is every time I asked a question, the answer was presented. So I still do this. And now that I'm aware of it, I ask more questions, which allows things to flow easier. So I went away to a 10-day meditation retreat because I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. This meditation retreat was hard. One of the hardest things I've done in my life, actually. 10 days, no reading, no writing, no talking, no phone, no nothing. 10 and a half hours a day of meditating. And so you really start to understand what's going on in your mind when that's happening. And so I cleared a lot of energy that way. And to me, that was very beneficial. So grateful that I did it, but it was like a hard way to clear energy. So I came out of that and I knew what I wanted to do was help people. So I took my reflexology course and started doing that, and that was helpful. And there was a little spell in there where I did lashes for a little while. But what happened is every time I was doing lashes while I was taking the reflexology course, people would be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm squirmy, my hip's a little sore." And I'd be like, "Oh, do you have a few minutes at the end of your session, your lash session, so I can work on your feet a little bit?" And people would get up and they'd be like, "Gosh, I feel better." And suddenly I realized I'm at the wrong end of the table. I need to be down with people's feet, not up working on their head. So I moved into my reflexology business, and then I started asking more questions. So one of the questions that I was asking is, why do we not do what we know is good for us? So very often it's simple to follow a certain protocol or a process to get us where we want to go. For example, a person that we know would give out lots of these, I think it was Jack Ramsey financial planning kits, and they were so simple. It made so much common sense. And we were talking about, like, how many people do you actually think do that though? And we guessed it at a pretty small percentage. So my question was, why is that? So we know it's good for us. The process is simple. Why don't we do it? A course came up in Calgary. My boyfriend is involved in RAIN, which is a real estate investors network. And so this course wasn't about real estate per se, it was about money. So I'm like, excellent, I think I should go to that. Off I went to this course. It was a really good space to be in. I think it was just one full day. And what happened was, it was just revealed that belief systems basically rule our world. So whatever your belief system is, and often it's not like specifically a chosen one. So whatever your belief system is, you will act in accordance to make that come true. So there was a lady in this course that would make $40,000, and she happened to be doing real estate investing. She would make $40,000 and then she would lose 50. And this pattern repeated like numerous times. So they talked her through it a little bit, and she believed that that's what would happen. So every time she got close to making that 40, she would literally make a deal that was a failing deal, not on purpose, but that was her subconscious kicking in and making that belief system actual truth. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Of course, belief systems, absolutely. So I was so excited. And then after that, I was like, oh, dang. But what do we do about these belief systems? How do we shift them and change them? What's the simplest, easiest way for us to do that? So that was the next question. Another course popped up in my email. Don't even know how it got there. Anyways, I had said to my boyfriend, hey, do you want to go to this course? It was called the Emotion Code, and it was going to be in Calgary as well. And this is a few months later. And so he said, sure, why not? We have nothing going on then. So the time comes, we're busy, things are going on. It was like, oh, should we go? Should we cancel? What should we do? And we decided, yeah, we better go. So we went. We get there, there's this room full of people. There's this guy presenting, he's amazing. He's the guy who wrote the Emotion Code, Dr. Bradley Nelson, brilliant man. And I looked over at Dan and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a book. I think we're the only people that haven't read the book. So anyways, we had a little giggle over this, and within 30 minutes of the session starting, I looked at Dan and said, I think I have to do this. And he said, I think you do too. So we completed out the rest of the day. And then after that, I came home and started practicing. And the results were like unbelievable. I was shocked. I was just like, people that had aches and pains in their body would be like, my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. And a specific example is my boyfriend had shoulder pain for about, I think it was about 3 years. And he had been to 4 different physiotherapy, sports medicine, cortisone shots, these kinds of things. And nothing ever really helped get to the bottom of it and get rid of it. And so I started playing around with this because I wasn't even certified at that point yet. And his pain went from an 8 out of 10. So that would be 10 is extreme pain. And it dropped down to about a 2 or a 3. And so I was absolutely hooked. I took the more extensive training, the Emotion Code training and the Body Code training. And then in my history, like about 6 years before that, I had taken a couple of Reiki courses as well. Hadn't really done much with them, but I sort of had them in my toolbox. And then as I've navigated along the way, I've really been interested in personal development and listening to different things. And I love to listen to audiobooks and things like that. And so as I've navigated through, I've sort of been gathering all of these little pieces and parts up and not really knowing specifically why I was doing it. And so all of this led me to where I'm at today. So initially when I started the energy work, I was following the Emotion Code and the Body Code exactly. And then what's happened is as we've kind of continued through that, all of a sudden I started getting like, I knew what was coming next, because with the Emotion Code, you muscle test through this process to find out which emotion is to come up next to be released. And so all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's going to be this, this, this. So I would muscle test it and it was right. So now what my work looks like is I sort of just like tap into your energy field. I stand there and all of a sudden words just kind of start coming out of my mouth. And we release the unprocessed emotions that are sticky or stuck in your body. So that's like your emotional baggage per se. And so when we're doing reflexology and energy work, both parts are approaching the core or root of what's going on in the body. And this is what I've been desiring to do since the very beginning. Back to when I was at the hospital and I was like, yeah, but like, couldn't we get out ahead of some of this stuff? And then people won't have to come in having problems where they need like an exploratory surgery or, you know, they have all sorts of things going on. And so it's interesting because this journey's been a few years. I want to say it's been about probably 12 years that I've been going down this path. And so when you look back and you put all of the pieces together, it makes complete and total sense. But of course, as I was going through it, there was many times where it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing, but really sticking to the place where I know that like I love people and I love helping people. And just asking questions, and then the answers will always come. So that's what's brought me to where I am today, doing energy healing and reflexology. Hopefully you found that slightly interesting. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I hope you're having a great day.